a blade, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die hodling. The gen brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale, get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Scalped my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost gone, creeps the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die hodling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rise. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Shots are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down.
Good morning, guys. How's it going? Let me just triple check my audio. Power went out recently, so sometimes it messes with my stuff. Properties. All right, cool. We're working. All right. What's up, Noah? Good morning, man. Coma. Sterling. How you doing, Sterling? Delta Chi. JB. Keen Bean. F-Bomb. Dennis, what's up? Yeah, let's get to it. Audio's fine. Thanks, man. Okay. So, Bitcoin been doing an SFP dance lately. Lots and lots of SFPs. So we had, we signaled this guy here. We had this double SFP opportunity where we swept this low right here and this low simultaneously. And it gave us a technical target of this high. Pretty cool. What's up to Deer? How you doing, man? Blackwater, John Effect. Yeah. We have an opportunity coming up right now as we speak. Just after getting a really good gold pocket confluence-based SFP right here. So like this morning, like we just got off a trade hunting call with the community, and we had a if we pull a from this low to this high Fibonacci pull. We'd had this golden pocket and confluence with the valley area low deviation and this wick here to allow us to get an SFP. The SFP target was pretty wild because if you look throughout this fall right here, we never had a proper pullback prior to the SFP, right? So the technical target is way the heck up here. I had a tough time believing in that target with all the barriers that we had in mind, but then we came back down during the trade and swept internally and gave us a local SFP against this legacy SFP, and it allowed us to have a new target internally from this low to this high, kind of like encouraging everyone to hold the trade. And then we broke past the VWAP, used the VWAP as support, got above that previous value area high, and simultaneously got a break of structure above this point control, VWAP, previous value area high. So it kind of induced the rest of this pump that we're seeing right now. And oh, we just had an SFP. So we just had one now. Just this sec. Oh, I just missed out. So here we just swept this high. This is the confirming candle, the technical target. I'm telling you, like, today's a day for SFPs. It's just non-stop. So the technical target is just this right here. But it can induce a change of character. It can bring us right back down to the value area high right here. So let's see if we get that target extension. But yeah, we need a candle close below here for the target extension. And then we can see it come back to this low where I anticipate a potential bounce. So we got to watch out for potential support off this previous value area high for that consolidative range. Right now we're looking at the 1 minute time frame. So it's fast acting. Wait, let's see if we get that close. Wild. So we got, if I saw this, you're still in the trade for any reason, guys. This is definitely get the heck out kind of warning if this candle closes below this wick. So we might not be reaching the technical target, which is this top here. In our back testing, we found that your win rate actually increases by close to 10% if you target the bodies of an SFP target rather than the wick. Because obviously you're going to have scenarios that will allow you to get out sooner, but only do that if the R&R allows it. Okay, so it looks like it's going to start coming down. So mark your previous value area high and prepare for potential support bounce off this. Got that slight deviation from the value area. Bearish change of character. Like this is a short warning. I'm going to come down. So yeah, just got to watch out for that previous value high and this demand that was just created here along the way down, because that can induce a bounce. We did lose our momentum recently, so I'm not going to keep this on screen. Or we can adjust it alongside the new price action. There we go. It's a little more broad now. All right, yeah. If anyone took that, congrats. I obviously didn't communicate to you guys in time, but that's an intense move. Wild. I think it's been SFP heaven for the past like 24 hours. Okay, what do we have in the chat? We got Andrew, what's up, man? My other Canadian friend. Okay, Jillian. Mark. TA on QPUX when available. Yeah, we can do that. 43 souls here and only 10 likes. Come on. It's all good. Yeah. Appreciate the likes, guys, and the subscriptions. It helps a lot. All right, cool. So with Bitcoin, when I was prepping for the day, we have a couple of scenarios that we can prepare for. This is a missed opportunity, unfortunately. Like this was a little fast. But we do still have this wick level here. We grabbed liquidity from this. We basically just got rejected in an area where we expect residual sell orders, right? Whenever you see like an impulse move down, base of consolidation, and then another impulse move down, that's a warning sign that there could be residual sell orders and that there's supply there that could induce a range, right? So this, whenever you see these occur from a downtrend, you got to anticipate that if we have a bullish change of character, that this is likely going to be the high side of a range. And that's what happened, but a little bit later down the road, but it ended up causing the high side of this range. And now we have a range between here and here. So I'll be looking for longs as we approach down here. We have good key level here. If I zoom out a bit, I'll explain to you why. So we have the 15-minute posture. We got an order block, right? If you look at the liquidation heat map, we also have a large amount of liquidity pooled below this, but not nearly as much as the amount of liquidity that we have down here. So if this fails and we don't have that bullish change character reaction warning us that we could be coming back up towards like that 200-day EMA, then we'll anticipate for it to come back down to this previous point of control where there's a large amount of pooled liquidity here. We find out the liquidity by looking at coinglass.com. It's free to use. And what you want to do is find out the age that it's been since we got to this area. Like how much time has passed. And you can use your measurement tool on the left. You grab that, click and drag to where we currently are, and you find out how long it's been. It's about 5 days, 4 hours, and 45 minutes. So we look for a wraparound time using the liquidation heat map, and 1 week wraps around 5 days. So we can use the 1 week chart. Look, right now we're looking at Doge, aren't we? It's saying Dogecoin, BTC. There we go. All right, cool. So that area that we were talking about before, where that green box zone that we have, that's at 106,383. We've got a decent amount of liquidity there, right, on this chart. You can see that yellow line. That's a representation. When you look at the heat map gauge on the left, the closer it is to the yellow color, the more weighted impact that liquidity most likely has. And the more funds that are resting there in comparison or relative to the liquidity that's currently on screen. And then we have more liquidity below that, but we have this huge cluster of liquidity all the way down. When we were talking recently, I don't know if it was during the live on Monday, but yes, it was. Okay, on Monday we were talking about a massive amount of pooled liquidity here. And we gave the signal that basically we could expect a rejection here. And we got a really harsh reaction after grabbing all that liquidity and hitting that 50-day EMA. And we took about $400+ million worth of liquidity, but and it was a really tight, refined area too. And I think it's likely because of the behavior of the drop. You can see the order flow, the price action here, where we had these double tops and lots of warning signs that we're likely going to come down after hitting our head off this value high. So people will be able to be more refined with their liquidity, right? They could basically calculate the leverage required to be liquidated in this area. So lots of people are just going to get liquidated just from tapping into this small little white line I'm drawing here. But now, because we had this harsh rejection here, we didn't have that same kind of structure as before. So we have a larger area of interest now because people are a little bit more safer with their liquidation levels, giving some breathing room past the 50-day EMA in case things didn't work out. And you can see that through here we have this cluster. Go to the 24-hour. It's a lot more easier to view. You see this cluster right here. This is all from that rejection starting from the way down. So you can see that we have it's all pooled in a larger kind of range compared to the last time. So I'll be looking at this area for rejections again next time we come up here, fighting against the 50-day EMA. But because it's above the EMA, it does give the opportunity for it to be used as buy-side liquidity. So the type of behavior that we get here is going to be really important as we get to like around 114,200. So we might not get that harsh drop as before. We might see it give us reversal structure instead. And if we don't get reversal structure, let's say we get like a break of structure continuation posture off this 50-day EMA and the previous value high, it could warn us that we can be going back to a previous value area instead, and this liquidity is being used as buy-side liquidity. Because liquidity can be used for both buy orders and sell orders and have a low impact on the price action. We do have an area of interest up here for shorts as well at 111,160. If you pull a Fibonacci retracement tool from the high to the low, we have a golden pocket floor that rests at the bottom of the floor of the supply concern. And the top side of the supply concern has this point of control here from this range that could also act as resistance. So lots of stacking confluences within this zone that you should be aware of for potential shorts if we do make it back up through here, okay? So that's a good spot to watch. I'm going to get the pathing tool out. Let's draw this up. This is the area to watch here. I can delete this noise. All right, cool. All right, now let's zoom in to the current price action. Oh wow, what a awkward drop. But yeah, looks like we just got acceptance into the value area. If you did take the change of character short, yeah, this is a spot to watch out for. We're in this like internal kind of demand zone here. I can delete this noise too. We don't need that anymore. So yeah, we're in this like little internal demand zone here. We got the confluence of this previous value area high and the VWAP. So it may induce a reversal back up. So just be aware of that if you're in a short. That could start coming against you during this moment. So what you would want to see to hold your short is a close below this previous point of control, or this active point of control, sorry, and the VWAP in confluence with the previous value area high. If we get that break of structure, we can start coming back down to these lows again, where we might get another SFP. So we can move this here. We don't have the golden pocket confluence anymore, but it's still a significant level below the active value area. Okay, there we go. And wild day. There's so many trade opportunities. One trade opportunity, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so 1 SFP, 2 SFPs, 3 SFP, opposing change of character, out of value area high. Like that, yeah, tons of opportunities already. How's your trading going so far, guys? Please signal the next SFP. Yeah, this one was a little on the fly. It was during a call today. We signaled the last SFP signal was this guy here. And sometimes they're so fast that it's tough to type and enter simultaneously. What we got in the chat? Is that a bearish ST on Zcash? Oh, we did look at Zcash today, so I can go over that. All right, let's go through your requests, guys. So if I were just give you a quick recap on what I'm preparing for with Bitcoin. Right now, where we're positioned, you shouldn't be looking for shorts. It's kind of, that ship kind of came and went. So I'd rather you prepare for longs. We have a potential SFP opportunity again off of this low from a deviation of the value area low, right? And then we can start whatever the SFP targets generated at that time. We'll target that. What you look for an SFP target is a healthy pullback. So let's say we come down through here and we pull back at least 2 candles like we did right here, right? Pull back at least 2 candles and then we sweep that low and we close above the wick. The target will be the most recent pullback, right? Healthy pullback. That's why we had this wild target from here to here with this one, because we never had a proper 2 candle consecutive pullback until after the S&P occurred. So that's why we got that wild target. And if you look at the daily, like you get some wild ones, right? We had this S&P target here from the sweep of this high. It told us that we're going to crash all the way down here before the whole tariff news and the insider $188 million short. Like the TA told us that we're going to drop down there, and I didn't really believe it, right? I told people of the target, but I was kind of in disbelief, and we just teleported there very shortly afterwards. So sometimes you got to trust the TA. Yeah, even if there's opposing barriers that kind of threaten it, you can always, manage your risk relative to the barriers and be aware of the barriers so you know how to react to them, but you shouldn't try to let them dictate whether or not you're allowed to trade sometimes. I got a friend calling. All right, cool. So yeah, looking for a bullish reaction here off a potential sweep. We got an SFP area here as well from deviation of this value area. And the big guy that I would really like to take is this one here at this previous point of control at 104.6. There's a lot of liquidity here. This could turn a scalp trade. This is an area where a scalp trade can convert into a swing trade if you manage your stop loss properly. There's lots of potential for continuations from here. Okay, so that's that. These are my zones that I'm watching here, here, and here. And as we get closer and closer to the downside, the bigger the R&R opportunity that is likely to be put at play. Okay, so that is Bitcoin. What would you guys like to look at? We got a list already. Noah asked for QPUX first, so we can take a peek at that. Whatever that is. So QPUX. Okay. Am I spelling that right? All right, it came up as QTUM. Not sure if that's what you're looking for, man. Let me just look around for you. It's quantum ETF. Oh, okay, it's an ETF, so it's not a cryptocurrency. Okay, so it's Defiance 2x daily long pure quantum ETF. It's a 5-minute chart. We'll go to the daily. I never did TA on this thing. You said it just launched? All right, we're coming in. It just got its first 50-day EMA. All right, cool. So we have opened here, crashed, got this inverse head and shoulders posture that helped dictate along. It definitely exceeded its measurable target, but it's also a brand new asset, so targets are kind of tough to call. But this is what I was recommending before. Cool down. You can see that we had a little bit of consolidation here, so some people probably did exit during that moment. We have some daily order blocks down here that if we returned back down here, we can anticipate for some support. Let's grab the rectangle tool, just wrap around the order blocks. There we go. We should mark your absolute low right here. This could give you a wild SFP target. All right, so we got these are our key areas of interest for potential longs if we did return back down all the way down there. I know it's like a 50% correction, but this thing's brand new. Anything can happen. Okay, so we didn't have a proper pullback here on the daily. So our bearish change character level is here. And this candle's still active. We have 4 hours left on this candle. So like we could invalidate this bearish change of character if we close above these wicks, giving us an SFP. So SFPs are technically an invalidation of a break of structure or an invalidation of a change of character. And it does make things awkward if you have like an SFP. Yeah, I have an SFP here, and you're a change of character trader. Like some people only like jumping on changes of character as part of their rules. Because when you have those lows swept, it creates a new low that you need to have the candle close below before it's actually considered an actual proper change of character. Now we're on the 4-hour time frame. Yeah, so this is like the little demand zone that we've got left, and it's being completely mitigated. So I'll be watching out for, if I were you, the retest. If we break below this and it closes and we retest, you could have yourself a good stop loss guard. Right now you don't really have any other than this like 4-hour order block you could potentially use as a capital guard. Maybe the lower time frame structure you could find something, but the high time frame structure there's nothing. Now you could probably use something like this maybe. but you need to have that daily candle close for it to actually confirm on the daily. So I'd be preparing for a reversal structure here, man. Seeing how it and see how it closes on the daily. If you get that daily SFP, then look at the lower time frame structure to help dictate an entry, because like a daily SFP here would give you a wild target of the high, right? This is the oh, my bad, wrong pathing tool. Yeah, so in order for this to be confirmed as a daily SFP, it needs to close, this candle needs to close above this wick right here, and then you're set. But I would still, it's my lack of trust in this asset, I would still recommend like using low time frame TA to dictate when you enter, and you could use the daily SFP low, the wick, as your invalidation point. We have this momentum that has yet to break. If that were to occur, you just gotta wait for like the bullish like change character alongside that daily SFP, and then you could have yourself a really good long. You just gotta watch out for the supply barriers along the way, and you're set, man. And also, like a good level to watch would be like this wick low, or this low here that could be retested as resistance, alongside the confluence of this being a supply zone. Let me just fix that. Got the magnet tools bouncing all over the place. Right, the floor of the supply zone is a 15-minute order block, so just be aware of that confluence. But this would be your primary threat along the way up, if this were to confirm as an SFP. You can also use you can use Fibonacci too. When we confirm the low after in a bullish change of character, you find the low that's created. Let's pretend we have one right now, and then you can pull your fib and see if there's any confluence with any key levels with your fibs, and you can use that as a tool as well. Right now, there's like the 382 is in line with that supply zone, but I like to focus mostly on the golden pocket to the 786 as a block zone of interest. But I hope that helps you out, man. There's not much more to it than that, because it's too young, right? Hopefully it induces a range here and doesn't just correct 50%, because that'd just be, yeah, be pretty lame. Could be a good buying opportunity, but you want things to respect certain key levels for you to trust it longer term for trades. All right, let's go back to the watch list. Click on Bitcoin, and then we'll look at the next request here. See how Bitcoin is doing really quick. Go to the 5. It's still step laddering down. So if you jumped in on that short from the 1 minute bearish change of character, we are now below the VWAP. We do look like we're trying to position ourselves to be bullish with a potential double bottom. We get an ascending double bottom though. I prefer to have the descending ones because you get the change of character when we break the neckline. And the VWAP confluence here, we do have a supply concern right in our face in the low time frames. In confluence with that, we have the point control here and the VWAP, so we might hit our head and continue to go down. But it does look like it's trying to position itself for a reversal. So we'll see how it behaves once it gets here. Now we do have that uptrending momentum confluence here. This is more broad momentum. More broad momentum is usually stronger than the evolving momentum that's internal. All right, cool. No rate cuts for the rest of the year, says Jerome Powell. That's a good name. So, okay. It wasn't actually Jerome Powell that said that, guys. But, yeah, so what I kind of agree with that, by the way, because the government's shut down. They're not getting really any data anymore to help dictate what they should do with their rate cuts. So I could see that being a possibility that they don't do any more cuts for the rest of the year, for sure. And maybe when things start running again and they get their new data coming in, they'll be able to determine whether or not they do those rate cuts. Okay, so next request was Zcash. So let's take a peek at Zcash. We're talking about Zcash today. So we had this bearish head and shoulders today on Zcash, and it's like the last time we were talking about, we're preparing for resistance here anyways, right? Because if we zoom out on Zcash here, we have a value area that we got acceptance within that like help control the price for about 5 days. So it's not a significant value area, but I do believe it's the all-time high one, right? So yeah, it's the all-time high one. So we know that a massive majority of holders on Zcash are holding at a profit, right? Especially when we're at the top at the value area here and reaching all-time highs. So we kind of fractalized a little bit here. And what I mean by that is like it's painting the same picture within a picture, right? So we have this head and shoulders here. We have a head and shoulders here. And we're building a potential macro one right here. And that's called fractalization. So that gives you a warning sign that a large amount of traders are agreeing with each other that this could be a top where they're just exiting, right? We already hit the technical target for this little one here, but we do have an opportunity for a bounce to invalidate this being a head and shoulders. We could turn this into a pennant for a potential continuation, but like where we're positioned, I think that we're more statistically likely to come all the way down to 229 or 230. This is the value area low of what we were just talking about. And we have an order block here, and we have a decent amount of liquidity along the way down that could be taken from market makers. So this was the market maker exit plan, and this is their re-entry plan, basically. And they're going to use retail as a tool to help drive the price down, right? So we'll see if we have an SFP here. If we do have this like legacy SFP, I already kind of have it drawn out. We were talking about it during the trade hunting call today. So if we sweep this low, the technical target right now based on the structural behavior is up here. And then that can induce us to range here for a little bit and maybe even continue to go up. But right now things are looking pretty bearish. If the technical target for this head and shoulders is basically you just grab a trend line from the support level of the head and shoulders, right? You grab a trend line from the head down to that support, and you just click and drag to the moment where you had the breakout. And that momentum, if it were to be maintained, gives you a suggestive target of 222. And though we have those barriers at 230 that could interrupt that target. But this most recent head and shoulders here already had its target met. Or pennies away, really. So we'll see if we get that bullish SFP. If not, if we get a full body candle close below this, I'll be looking for a pullback for a retest, for a stop loss guard, and prepare for the drop down here. If we have a pullback prior to the close, then you can use that stop loss instead. And that will usually give you better R&R. But sometimes it's tougher to trust stuff like that because when you have a bounce near these lows, and we don't take lows especially, then it's inducing more liquidity below us, right? And that could be used as a way to launch the price back up. So sometimes I prefer to have the break first and then the retest, so we know that the liquidity is being used as sell side or buy side liquidity. In this case, sell side liquidity to help drive the price down. Okay, so that's Zcash. I hope that helps you out. The first plan would be hope for the bullish SFP. Second plan would be prepare for the bearish break of structure continuation for an entry for a short. And then the third plan, which I prefer, would be the bullish change of character at this value area low, where this 15-minute order block is here. Let's see what we get. So that's Zcash. I hope that helps you out. Bitcoin's getting above that VWAP. Not a proper consecutive pullback on the 1 minute, but we are coming up towards that order block supply zone here. This could induce a reversal, but the longer we stay above the VWAP, the better for a bullish reversal here. Why Bitcoin going down, bro? Any negative news? Did Trump say anything? He hadn't met Xi Jinping. I definitely said that wrong. So, not everything deserves a news story, man. So, there's a saying that you'll come to understand in trading. Show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. Like if you see, for example, that daily bearish change of character at that, not daily bearish change of character, so the daily SFP at the top. We knew we had that massive target to the low before the tariff news came out, right? So you can use the charts as a tool to kind of help guide you without even knowing what's going on with the news. So this drop here was a result of liquidity being taken, right? The market makers are going to do their best to try to suppress price. So especially institutions are going to try their best to suppress price so they can accumulate more at lower prices and use retail as a tool to help control the market. So really sometimes, man, it's just about people using liquidity as an exit plan that induces a drop, and doesn't have to have anything to do with news itself. Sometimes what news will usually do is help increase the volatility of an already existing move. It's actually insanely rare for us to have opposing news against what the structure is telling us. It makes you feel like you live in a simulation. So if you have like a double bottom and it breaks to the upside, they usually slap the good news story on that green candle, or they'll slap the bearish story on the red candle, right? Trust me, the more you trade, the more you'll see it. It's kind of rare to see opposing news to what's going on with the structure. Oh, thanks, Alex. Appreciate it, bro. Kyle is handsome, and you should hit the like button. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Alex is working on big moves. Okay, next request is XRP from Beyond Physique. We can take a peek at that. Do we have an XRP chart open already? We do not, so we'll just pull it up here real quick. XRP. We haven't looked at this since the 20th. Okay, that was only 2 days ago. October's going by so fast that I feel like it might be closer to the end of the month. Remember, we all learned that meme. Trump tweets no match for technical analysis. Yeah, I get you. I'd like to be an insider with Trump. My God, that guy. So being a trader, it's kind of, I don't know, I feel like you get kind of an edge knowing what we know with market structure and what goes on with Trump and his announcements. But being an investor, like someone who's just trying to buy and hold, it's got to be nerve-wracking with what's going on. Because as a trader, your goal is just to capture the path that's created, right? And use structural evidence to dictate like when that path is likely going to be created. But as an investor, and you're not aware of all the technical analysis stuff, it could be a little scary with what's going on with the tariffs. Okay, so with XRP, we are starting to range here for a bit. The most recent significant move that I could see, we were preparing for some bearish activity after we got to the supply concern. We did go past it. We did mitigate it. But then we got this SFP here. It's a great spot to prepare for shorts. This is called a legacy SFP. These are usually great because they have pooled liquidity above it to help drive price down. Your stop loss would be right above the wick. So these usually give you really good R&R. And where you would target from this SFP is the most recent pullback, which would have been right here. And that would have worked out really well. Now, that level is still significant. So we could put that here instead in case we come back up. We can move this. This is no longer needed because it's been mitigated, but we could use it for any of the local price action that we have to deal with. This little supply zone that we have to worry about here. We have, let's see, we're really close. We didn't get the bullish change of character reaction yet, but we do have a key level, which is pretty much where this local support drawing is. We can replace that with this wick, because this wick now, because this is technically an SFP right here, sweeping this high. So it changes our change of character level to be above the wick. So we need a candle to close above that now. So what I'll do is I'll just edit this the way I usually do. It's orange lines. If you ever see orange lines on my chart, they're usually key levels. When we break above them, we continue to go up. If we break below them, we tend to continue to go down. Okay, never got the bounce here though that we anticipated. Let's see. Just going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to pull up a fixed range volume profile from the start of this consolidation to here. You can see that we are dancing on the active point of control, but we're also having overlap data from a previous point of control. So if we zoom out, you can see that we're kind of getting acceptance inside this previous value area. What we really want to see, especially if you're an XRP holder, is us to close above this level here, get that 4-hour bullish change of character, and get above this value area high again, so we can expect a rotation back to this value area high. It will most likely start as a battle, but if we get acceptance into there, we can get a target extension to here. So this is a really important 4-hour level here. If it's an important 4-hour level, it might be important like 6-hour. Yeah, and let's see, daily. Yeah, daily as well. So we want to see that daily break. It's not going to be a change of character, unfortunately, because of this ridiculous wick. So we just got to treat it with a little bit more caution. But what I've been doing is trying my best to, like, you can't ignore the wick, of course, but I'm trying to, like, do my TA as if it's not there, because it has been messing people's games up a little bit. So we have internally, right now we're fighting against the previous point of control and the local one. When you see overlap data like this, you can decide whether or not you want to just delete this and just have it be replaced by the active one. But we just you can't allow it to. One thing that's helpful about it is that it helps you realize that there's a bigger picture going on in the background, and that there could be a much lower value area low to be aware of. So down here at 207, if we make it down here, it's going to be a great spot to prepare for potential longs. But let's just look at the local stuff first. So here at 232, we'll be looking for, what you want to see is like a break of downturning momentum and a bullish change of character, and then a rotation to the value area high. Similar to what happened here. This is the bearish version, right? We had got to the value area high, bearish change of character, lost momentum, stop loss here, and you're anticipating that rotation to the value area low. This stop loss guard, however, it's pretty awkward. So if you, in a scenario like this is a great time to use Fibonacci, because if you don't like your R&R, but you like the technical target, then it's a time to sit on your hands and hope for a pullback, right? So during this moment, you could pull a fib from this high to this low, look for a golden pocket entry, 786 entry right here. And when you look at the lower time frames, you look for that bearish change of character reaction internally for your entry. And then you can give yourself much better R&R, but with the same stop loss, but different entry, right? Rather than taking the change of character entry, you can try to jump in on the pullback entry. And when things start to look weak, you can take your short. When I learned that was a game changer to me, because it allowed me to have more, like, use my same rules, but have more opportunities if I didn't like the risk reward ratio, or if I didn't like the stop loss guard. Okay, but yeah, right now as we speak, yeah, we want to see that break above here for us to anticipate a continuation up. We have the supply zone right above this point of control. So I think that we're actually more likely to go down than up, like based on the structural behavior. The one thing that makes me doubt that we're going to go down is just we've got this double bottoming effect going on right now. And so if we get that break and that bullish change of character, no, not the bullish break of structure, sorry, then we're targeting this level right here. Okay, let's get this labeled properly. So I hope that helps you with the XRP. Let's get this. Here we go. All right, cool. But yeah, 232 is a great spot to prepare for longs if we make our way down there. Any mental macro stop loss on Bitcoin if the trend no longer becomes our best friend? I have no macro stop loss for you right now, because like I don't. This none of my rules for the top being called have been met. Based on chain data, we are only halfway through the bull market. And it may not seem like it. The narrative may seem scary right now, but the on-chain data suggests that we are in a cool down phase right now, not the top of the market kind of phase. So I will scream through the rooftops when I sell my Bitcoin. I'll tell everyone the moment I sell my Bitcoin. Another bearish change of character at the value high here, guys. On the 1 minute. You expect a rotation to the value area low. Again here. Okay. But yeah, I can go through the on-chain data so I can help build confidence in you if you're worried about the drop. But I'm telling you, I think we're only about halfway there. I can go through the on-chain analytics and show you what I see. And I give you guys I try my best to give you guys weekly posts about how I'm preparing for the absolute top. And when we call the top, we will have a macro stop loss suggestion. And it's going to be based on the daily candle structure. If we have a bearish change of character when the market's overheated, we'll be using that strong high as a stop loss. But right now, yeah, I wouldn't recommend a macro short or anything like that. Okay, all investors should watch Jim Cramer if you want to. Yeah, Jim Cramer, he's right there. He's if you guys see him, that troll in the background. Yeah, if you want to make an indicator that will tell you what the market's going to do, you should have it read Jim Cramer's posts and just do the opposite of what he says. That guy's job is literally to teach market makers. So obviously he's going to be trying to tell people the opposite of what you should be doing on Twitter and stuff like that. Okay, so let's get to the next request. Esther's a great asset. I just started buying it. Let's pull up. I think I got an Esther chart now. Last time we looked at it was on October 17th, 15-minute structure. It's at 99 cents now. Let's see what we got. The last time we looked at it, we were looking for this break here. We got that internal change of character, inverse head and shoulders, watching out for the supply concern, and we hit our head off the supply, which was it was beyond the measurable target, but that was our target. And then we started coming down from there. So congrats to anyone who took that suggestion from our last live. Let's see if we can get another great setup. So we zoom out a little bit. This thing's been kind of bleeding a little bit, but the good news is, even though it's actively bearish right now, it is building a bullish structure because the price action's going down. You got to visualize the liquidity that's being induced and the liquidity that's being taken. And the order flow suggests that we're just taking liquidity, and stacking more and more and more above us. And what does a market maker need to exit? Liquidity, right? So let's this will be a good time to prepare for a great long opportunity, because the technical target of a falling wedge posture like this is where the liquidity tends to go cold. So there's two spots that I anticipate to watch out for the target, which would be the value area low for this consolidation before we start coming down and confirming it as resistance. But the technical target is up here. But I'll be watching this like a hawk. We have an hourly order block here. We have a value area low here from this consolidation. And yeah, we have supply concern here too. So we have 3 reasons to watch out for this area. But if we get acceptance into the value area, then we have that target extension to the technical target of $2.13. And that's like a 2x from here, or 200. Yeah, let's put 2x from here. That's assuming that this is the low, of course. We could keep going down, unfortunately. Let's see. I think Esther brings something unique to crypto, so I think that it will do well, despite its performance right now is kind of crappy. And we have this active internal momentum. We were looking for, it looks like we marked this level for a potential SFP when we were looking for this change of character. When we came back down to revisit it, instead we got the candle close past it, so it never validated as an SFP, but we do have this new low here that we could use at 95.01. Based on the pullback that just occurred, if we got the hourly SFP, the technical target right now would be this high. So if we get that, then this could be a good opportunity for a long from 95 cents to about $1, in hopes that we get the bullish change of character reaction for a continuation up. But right now, this supply is inducing a pullback right here. So this is becoming a neckline for a potential double bottom or reversal structure because of this guy here. And like I said before near the beginning of this stream, if you ever see these impulse moves down, built base of structure, another impulse move down, there's usually residual sell orders. So when we come back to return to it, it usually creates the ceiling to a potential range. So hopefully that's the case. And then we range here and get a reversal instead of getting another break of structure and continuation down. So we then would have to watch a new area for supply. So we got this marked up here. Send this to back. We got our SFP level here on the hourly. Let's go to the 15-minute for a second. We can see we got some tweezer reactions. What a tweezer reaction is, if you're not aware of what it is, you can see that we got a little bit of one here. We got a proper one here. What you want to look for is like the less wicks you see, the better for it to be considered a tweezer. What they usually tell you is it tells you a story of what's going on with the order books. There's a high likelihood that there's a large sell wall here. And a sell wall is just a bunch of limit sell orders in one spot, and it makes it really hard for the price action to get past it until all those sell orders are filled. And it normally creates a tweezer reaction. So whenever I see a tweezer, I immediately look at the order books for that asset. Not every asset has amazing order books like Ethereum and Bitcoin, but you can look at your local exchange and see if there's a giant amount of orders here suppressing the price to go down. And it's usually caused by market makers putting in a whole bunch in one spot, and then retail sometimes tries to undercut them. And it starts creating a downtrend as a result. Okay, so behavior that I'm looking for is a sweep of this low. That's all we really got. And if we come down here, we could prepare for a potential Fibonacci reaction. Like if we get a bullish change of character here, maybe we'll start coming after the unclaimed high here and give us an ascending double bottom. But again, I usually do prefer to having the descending ones, or at least the SFP, into a change of character, because it normally comes with more trade participants to induce more volume to bring the price towards your targets. All right, cool. So that is Esther. I hope that helps you out. But again, this is the primary game plan that I would recommend. If you are someone who's busy, set a horizontal array just prior to the SFP, and then you can have an alarm set for when price action crosses it. So you're only looking at the screen when it's appropriate, so you're not staring at it all day. I'm sure you guys have been sold on the dream that trading is passive. It's definitely not passive. But it does allow you to compound and give yourself a raise every successful trade that you do. And if you burn yourself out staring at your screen every day, like your trade's going to have more emotion behind it. It's going to make it harder for you to hold your trades to your target. So try to reduce your screen time, set alarms right where a key area is to help you prepare for your next setup. So here, I would recommend setting a crossing alarm. You can do once per bar close, but that sometimes causes missed opportunities. So select trigger only once, and then click on create, and then you'll be notified the moment price action crosses this area. And you don't make it too soon. Like, try to bring it to a good spot, and you're good to go. So I got my alarm set in case I can able to give this to you guys as a signal. All right, cool. Kyle, how do you decide where to start and end a value area pull? That's a great question. You're going to need an understanding of market structure, but basically what I look for is we have a demand posture, right? Impulse move up. We have an opposing change of character, warning us of a range from that moment to here. When you have that opposing change of character, you could technically pull a fixed range volume profile, but it's going to be young and extremely unreliable, right? But once you have a mature value area with 2 changes of character, then you can pull a fixed range volume profile and expect for it to be reliable, right? Value area high, value area low. The data at that point, becomes more, strong at that point. Sometimes what I'll see though, when you're using previous value area data, is when you have that, like, let's say that basic structure, impulse move up, bearish change of character, but it happens to occur, like, let's say this is a previous value area high and this is a previous value area low, then you're going to have previous data to help you prepare for your trades. And you might not need to do a pull until your next bullish change of character, but that data becomes reliable instantly, right? I could show you tons of examples on that, but this is what I look for. 2 changes of character is a great beginner rule. You could pull it early if you'd like, when we're in previous value area data. It's a lot more reliable that way. But that's what we kind of look for. And the bearish scenario is almost identical. You want to impulse move down, base of structure, impulse move down, creating supply, getting that bullish change of character. During that, you have a young value area, but when you have that opposing change of character here, you have a more mature value area that you can trust. So that's how I do my pulls here. Sometimes you'll consolidate for a bit. Like here, we built this example, impulse move down, base structure down, and then you had that bullish change of character come down, bearish change of character. Now you have a reliable value area here, and you can start using the value area data to help dictate your trades. And you keep updating it until we break out of it. You stop updating it when you break out of it. Like, that's why I stopped here. I can update it now, but when we broke out of it, you stop your pull, because you want to look for, you don't want to corrupt the data. So you want to look for the retest and higher high to warn you that we're going to be leaving the value area. See here, we failed that twice, right? We came up, we pulled back, never got the higher high. We came up, we pulled back, failed to get the higher high. We got the SFP instead. We want the break of structure. And seeing that right off of a value area is a trend rule. So if you're a trend trader trying to catch big moves, this is a good rule you can add to your tool belt to prepare for a trend-based rule telling you that we're going to be leaving this value area and going into a supply concern or a previous value area. And you can use your supply barriers and your previous value areas as potential targets for your trend-based rules. I hope that helps you out. We have a whole course on that. It's all included in the membership. You'll learn market structure, you'll learn value areas, you'll learn SFPs, you'll learn about the data, how to backtest, you'll learn 3 other strategies, like the trend hunter strategy, the clairvoyant strategy. We got like a moon phase strategy too, a whole bunch of stuff. All right, cool. Got that bearish change character on the 1 minute at the value area high. We pulled back a little bit, but this is telling us a story that we should be rotating to the value area low, but we're kind of like consolidating a bit. So one thing that's fearful about consolidations, we could be building a pennant for a continuation to bring us back up to these highs. We do have a 1 minute order block, but we're looking at the 1 minute time frame. It's not like it's going to be something reliable. Okay. Next request. Good spot for accumulation. Are you talking about Esther for the accumulation? Oh, Esther. See, you could accumulate here, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you, I already accumulated too. Like I bought during the big crash, during a position of strength. You want to be jumping in on a position of strength. And depending on what your plan is with Esther, if it's like a longer term hold, then this could be a good spot for accumulation. But I'd rather, because it's such a young asset, that you wait for the break of the macro falling wedge that we're in. Maybe see it act as resistance, or maybe a front run opportunity like this that could lead into an entry before we break to the upside, like stuff like that. Like I'd rather you jump in a position of strength so your money starts working for you immediately and it's not trapped in something that's going into a downtrend, right? If your money's working for you immediately, then you got to think of your money as employees. If you ever want to be able to retire, like you got to make sure that what you put your money into is going to help give you return, right? And not get trapped into something. So, especially with altcoins, like things come and go so quickly in this space. So I would say that this is a good spot to prepare, but this is not a good spot yet confirmed to actually buy on Esther. Just to answer that question. All right, next request. Have we covered XRP yet? We have covered XRP. Just a quick recap. We want to prepare for a value area low, retest at 232 for a really good long opportunity. We have some pooled liquidity below these areas here that we could sweep and prepare for a reversal and then start targeting the value area high. This is the local value area. The macro picture is if we see this act as resistance properly, like we failed to get proper resistance here, then as we came up, returned, we never got the lower low. So if we get that resistance, we could fall all the way back down to 207. But locally right now, we're kind of building this double bottom posture. We have a key level here that if broken, we could get a return back up to the value area high. And I'll be watching this supply barrier right here at 247. But we want to see a break of this and like a retest because we're coming into supply right here and we're trading near a magnet. Right? The point of control is a scary spot sometimes to trade near. You need to have really good confidences to trade on a break of a POC, either to the upside or the downside. And this is essentially what this is, a trade of a break of the POC to the upside. So you just gotta be a little cautious. Hey, Blake, how you doing, bro? Welcome to the party. Sorry I didn't answer your call, but now you know why I didn't answer your call. I'm here chilling with the community. Okay, request to look at Hype. We can take a peek at Hype, see how it's doing. Okay, open. Let's pull this up. Yeah, last time we looked at it, we were looking at a couple of opportunities. This is our last time we updated our fixed range volume profile. So we looked for longs around this value area low. It looks like it kind of painted the same picture that we drew when we hit our head off that little local supply right here, and confluence with that point of control and the confluence of the downtrending momentum. So I had a lot of reasoning to prepare for a rejection there. So if you jumped in on that, congrats if you got out on time. If not, if you weren't aware of the warning signs, then yeah, you might have gotten stopped out before realizing that it's not going to go up towards the value area high. Let's see. We have our supply zone still here, kicking, so we don't need to adjust that. We had a wick level here that we could watch for an SFP. That never confirmed. We can move it here instead. Let's get another one here. Looks like we just had an internal SFP and it helped induce a change of character. So here we had this sweep of this low. The technical target would have been here, but based on the behavior, yeah, you might have been able to hold that trade relatively well. That candle, we came up and hit it, the target, and then we shortly afterwards used the VWAP as support, and then we had a strong full body close above it, giving us a change of character. Let's see from here. I'm going to go into the 15-minute structure because this looks a little sketch. In a harsh tweezer reaction here. So what could have happened is we were led down, right? And then someone put a giant limit sell wall here, creating a tweezer reaction, likely putting a sell wall there in using basically the VWAP as confluence that we're going to continue our way down. Now we're coming up, we're fighting that area. It looks like there could be still residual sell orders here because we're wicking against it and failing. So what we need to see occur for evidence that the sell wall is gone is a candle body close above that level. So we get that candle body close and we can expect a potential continuation back up to these highs. The measurable target for this double bottom has already been hit. So we grab a trend line from the neckline to the support, you click and drag to the neckline. It gives you an area where you expect exhaustion, right? We got here, we got the exhaustion. We're starting to pull back a bit, but looks like we're trying to reset for a continuation. Let's see what happens. But yeah, right now we're fighting against that potential sell wall. We have a order block here that can help induce a bounce. So it's just tight range stuff right now actively. We could draw this out if we want. It's probably a short-lived box. It's not a very high confluence zone, unfortunately. Let's zoom out here. Let's update our fixed range volume profile to the moment where we actually lost it. So we can actually use that valley area data to help us prepare for a potential resistance. Oh, that wick level, man, really messes up your... Okay, back in, acceptance, rejection here. Then we lost it there. Okay. So this is the trend-based rule that I was talking to you about. How you could use valley areas to help dictate a continuation down or a continuation up. So we have this previous valley area low, right? We came out, retested, and then got the lower low. And during that moment, that warned you that we're going to be leaving this valley area and going into a demand zone, like a previous demand zone, or in this case, where we go to, yeah, price discovery. No. Previous key area of interest here. Okay. Yeah, hype is getting close to price discovery. On this chart, at least. This is Bybit spot chart. I'm sure it came down a lot. You know, it's a lot older than this. I gotta get a better chart for this. Low to high, low to high. Yeah, once we confirm a bearish change of character here, we could do a low to high pull on your fibs. Yeah, right now, guys, for hype, like what we want to see for continuation up, because we kind of built this descending falling wedge here, or descending channel, right? So this is a spot we should anticipate resistance because of that confluence of the downtrending momentum, the confluence of that sell wall that's likely there. The previous day VWAP's there as well. So we could come back down, and this could be a good spot to prepare for a sweep of these lows. We have a sweep opportunity here with this order block that maybe that could induce the break. But what we really want to see is acceptance in this value area at 37.27 for a potential rotation to the value area high. And the technical target, though, for a regression trend is the top where liquidity tends to go cold. So you got to watch this in confluence with a point of control that could end up causing a reversal. So if I were to make a pathing suggestion on what you could prepare for, we get this trend line drawn, this trend line drawn here. We got the sweep opportunity here, a sweep opportunity here. And what we want to see is that a front run opportunity, kind of like this. This is potential front run to a break of regression trend. But we just got our third touch point now. So here, you kind of want to see a bullish change of character occurrence. Use that as your entry plan. Stop loss below the strong low. Get the break. Hope for the break of structure continuation. And then the next plan is to watch out for the value area low, potentially acting resistance. But if we get that break of structure, then we have our measurable target likely going to be hit like shortly afterwards. I could see these wick levels here inducing the pullback if we got acceptance. And they just need that higher high to hit the target. So just got to sit on our hands a little bit until it paints the picture. The moment, another good opportunity is right here too. So we just send this to back. We've already mitigated this actually. Let's just delete it. We have an apex point between the uptrending momentum and the downtrending momentum. So I draw little triangles like this to help with the mindset of preparing for a potential drop. And we got, this is our key level. If broken, you can see it rotate down to the area that we can prepare for a potential sweep. So I hope that helps you out, guys. That's hype. So we went through Bitcoin, XRP, Ester, Hype, Zcash, SNEC. Imagine assets who launched the day of that wick. Oh, wow. Yeah, man. Yeah. SNEC. Got a request to look at SNEC. We do have a SNEC chart, but I haven't looked at it in a while. A lot of the community holds SNEC. I tried trading it on MEXC, but MEXC has some crazy limitations on SNEC because they didn't ask for enough liquidity. So you only can trade with like $1,000 worth of margin. Well, SNEC is not doing great. So we were preparing for, we had this uptrending momentum here. Preparing for a bounce here. We got the bounce alongside with everything else. That's the crazy wick crash, right? Except it painted the picture of a head and shoulders, kind of like warning us that a crash is likely going to occur with SNEC anyways. So you're coming down. This is the demand zone down here. We haven't fully, when we came down here last time, we didn't fully mitigate it, but we did create newly formed liquidity here and here. So this whole zone, I'd still watch it as an area of interest, but what you're kind of looking for is just a bullish change of character in here, and like a macro chart, like a 6 hour, kind of like what we had here, that helped dictate this big move up, where you would likely just be targeting this supply zone in confluence with this downtrending momentum. But when you get that break, it helps you hold your trades. And when you hit our head off the value area low, that was kind of like the end of it. But yeah, right now SNEC is failing hardcore. So you want to look for, this is momentum here you can use. This is the 6 hour. We can delete that. But now what we're looking for Maybe we get an SFP off this low. You can go for the SFP target. All right, so we can get that sweep here. Or you can look for that bullish change of character. If you're looking for like a long-term hold or you're hoping for a recovery, this is what you need to see right here. The SFP is not going to give you a guarantee of a proper recovery, but a change of character has a lot more higher probability, especially in the higher time frames, of giving you a recovery, like back up to these highs again. We can move this. This is what used to be our demand zone for this range, right? Like if you were like jumping on this short that we called here for this double top, if we're using that demand as a assistance to our target. Now we can use this as like a supply warning. Just flip this to red. And we can use this little guy, which was the local demand here for this little range, as a supply barrier as well. We have quite a few areas we could mark. I'm gonna mark this wick level here. All right, cool. That's what I'll be looking for, bigger picture stuff. Trading SNEC in a non-swing environment, like something like this, is sometimes a little sketch because the candles are all over the place. If you look at the wicks and how this thing performs sometimes, it could really just knock you out and disrespect market structure. So just be aware of that when you're trading an asset like this, that trading higher time frames is usually the safer call than trading the lower time frames, because you're going to have awkward wicks that can just knock you out of the race and then still go your direction. I'm sure there's people that, especially beginners, where you put your stop loss on what you think is an invalidation point, knocks you out, and then hits your target. Like that's the worst feeling ever. Just feel like you're robbed and then it ran towards your target. Yeah, Bitcoin's getting a small little correction that we were talking about from this double top here. And SNEC's getting slaughtered. Percentage-wise, I mean, like that's a 10% drop. Right. All right, cool. So we can update our value area poll here actually. Bitcoin. Got like a really refined value area. This is called a balanced value area. If you see something like this is called double distribution. We got like this B structure. There's triple distribution when you have like 3 bumps. There's you have the positive, and then you have the bearish. These are usually come from falling wedges, that kind of behavior. And then these guys are usually also caused by bull flags. And we have bear flags here. They usually create these kind of value area data. And then we have, these are also caused by rising wedges. Yeah, rising wedges. If you backtest what I just said, you'll see what I mean. Okay. All right. What's next? We looked at Doge already, man, I believe. Yes, we did. Yeah, we looked at Doge already. Let's go look at the next request. We have Connie. What's ADA? Let's take a peek at Cardano. Sorry, going through some untouched tabs, so it's gonna cast my lag on alerts. Oh, there's a problem here. I misclicked that. Rotate. I gotta lock my line sometimes. Okay. I got a lot of noise on my Ethereum chart, so I apologize for that in advance. But let's look locally. So here, Last time we looked at Ethereum, we're preparing for a potential bounce here. We never got the bullish change of character. What you want to see is that, like, you know, that lower low and that high taken, right? We got the lower low. We never got the high taken. So we got the break of structure. It followed through towards this liquidity right below this wick. We might have gotten a high time frame SFP here. If we zoom out, that's pretty clutch on the 4 hour, the 6 hour SFP. But the 6 hour SFP target is like way up here. And it's still yet to be hit. The invalidation point being here. It does look like it's giving us kind of like Wyckoff potential vibes. Maybe a reversal structure being formed. We can get... Let me delete that. We could pull a fixed range volume profile. I'm trying not to include the crazy wick candle because the data isn't really helpful and it's going to mess up your anchor to be really, really low. And it's really annoying trying to adjust it over time. But yeah, right now for Ethereum, we could pull this here for potential SFP level. We have an SFP level locally right here. And we could get a double SFP actually, because we didn't take this low. Make sure you get your magnet tool out when you put these kind of things on here. But yeah, we didn't take this low. So we added more liquidity here. So what I would like to see is a sweep here at 62.25. We have good confluence of it being at a value area low. We have double SFP confluence, which is great. More liquidity. More likely to induce a stronger, more volatile reaction when you have two wicks like this right beside each other, and one might have been mitigated on another exchange. You could use tools like Argus to find that out, or you can rotate between all the different exchange charts. But we're on the Binance chart. They have decent liquidity. Bybit has some of the best liquidity too. So if you want to look at solid charts for stuff like this, Bybit's one I definitely recommend. But yeah, if we get the SFP here, then our target would be right here. So if I were to give you like a better pathing drawing here, it'd be like here to here, in hopes that we break this for the change of character if we do get that sweep, right? Because the change of character could help evolve your target to the top of the value area. So that's what I'd be looking for with Ethereum, or sorry, this is Cardano. So just looking for that SFP, sweep, change of character, target the high. Be mindful of the point of control, of course. We have two areas of interest here you should watch. If you want to mark a level that's a key level beyond the point of control, you could mark the volume shelf on this peak area of interest here. So right there could be an area of resistance. I usually just mark these as local resistance, but I should get into the habit of calling it like volume shelf resistance and stuff like that. So if people are looking at my charts, they know why I consider it that. But usually it becomes flush with price action most of the time anyways. So you could see it, that kind of evidence of support here, evidence of resistance here, evidence of resistance here. So if we get that bullish change of character, just got to be mindful of that area here, especially if we have like golden pocket confluence pulling from the high to the low, in which we do, right? All right, cool. That is Cardano. I hope that helps you out. So 2 great levels to prepare for longs. Here, if we get the break of structure instead of the SFP, then this is the next spot you want to watch at 59.35. That deviation of the value area will tend to give you more extensions for your target for better R&R. But that's what I'd be looking for. One thing I'm a little concerned about macro-wise for Cardano is the death cross that's coming in. We would need to have a violent return back up in order for this to be invalidated as a cross coming up here. So when we come back to return to these, it's going to act as a strong level of resistance. Let's see what happens, but a lot of automated bots react to these crosses. So you might see automated market orders come and play once these cross. right, cool. That is Cardano. And we got a strong bounce off this VWAP here. Dogecoin might have been done on your trade hunting call. Maybe. I felt like we did it here too. Let's see. We can go over Dogecoin just one more time. Where is it? Oh, I deleted off a chart here. Let's go. So you guys have access to this chart if you need it. Just type exclamation point charts. Okay, just clearing my tabs here. Oh, the chain link is giving me the same kind of vibes actually as Cardano. Let's see, Dogecoin. So Dogecoin, we talked about a couple of things here. We had, we're talking about the supply zone up here. We didn't mitigate it. We stacked more liquidity above us during this moment. If we have another opportunity here for a short, the previous point of control, this previous high here, and the 200-day EMA. So if we go beyond this, get a break of structure instead of a bearish change of character, then this is the next spot to watch for shorts at 22 cents. But right now, we're kind of winding up for a potential return back up at a value area low. We mitigated this order block here, like a higher time frame order block. We're at a value area low. We got a break of downtrending momentum. This is our key level here. It has been extended now because of this wick though. A little awkward. Yeah, we were looking this morning for this low to this high. We had this golden pocket bounce. But yeah, right now we need to see like a full body candle close. Like above this horizontal resistance. Break of structure, get above this wick with the break of structure. Then we should start mitigating the supply concern. We have a uptrending momentum here. We have 15-minute order block here. And we have the point of control here, so we have some reasoning for a rejection. I believe this area here that we have marked has confluences of fibs here. Yeah, so our golden pocket wrapped around by this supply zone, and the floor of this POC is basically, this POC is marked alongside the floor of this supply zone, so lots of reason to get rejected here as well. So you can look for potential shorts in this area. Or if you're in a long, you could prepare for a potential exit plan if things start to go south in hopes that we have a continuation up to the value area high. But we haven't really fully came down to this value area low yet, and I prefer like slight deviations of the value area, like a little bit below it for longs, because I just feel like I'm trading on a glass floor sometimes, especially when there's liquidity right below us. So we'll see what happens first. If we hit the lower low, then we might have an adjustment of our key level. A wild move here. That knocked people out? That probably knocked... Oh, maybe not. It's relatively equal high here. So if any of you guys took a short from here, you're probably still in the race. Unless emotions got a hold of you. Okay. What's next? We looked at Sneck Oliver, so we're good there. What's next? Chainlink. Yeah, we look at Chainlink here. Chainlink's kind of got the same kind of ugly little posture as Dogecoin, like kind of crunching into a previous value area low. We have this previous value area data here. This is the value area high. This is the value area low. And this is the point of control. When we came up yesterday, I believe that was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday when we came up through here, we never grabbed the liquidity the same way Bitcoin did. Instead, we added more liquidity. So when we come up here at 1911. This is going to be a strong key level to prepare for a rejection. We have the confluence of that previous value high, and we have the confluence of the liquidity that's stacking here and these recent highs. So I would definitely prepare for a short if we come back up to that area. So a good spot to watch. Right now we're at the active value area low. So around here, I'll be looking for like a bullish change of character, maybe a sweep of this low or a sweep of the local lows here. The sweep of the local low, the technical target would just be this high. So we can mark our wick and then prepare for the SFP from here to here, and you'll likely get that double SFP sweep too. And grabbing this low and this low simultaneously, and then using that liquidity to launch it towards this target here in hopes that it breaks for a continuation up. And you got a couple exit plans if we have that continuation, right? We have the supply here with the order block. We have the previous point control here at 1826 as well with an order block. And then our next area of interest I've been looking for is right up here. But your technical target would just be this high if we get the SFP. The change of character is what evolves things to go higher, especially with the confluence of being at a value area low. All right, cool. So that's Chainlink. So we went through XRP, Ester, Hype, Snek, Link, Dogecoin. I'm starting to forget now. Went through a stock. Coma's right. Yeah, news brings volume. The move is already there on the chart. I think there's a result of insider crap going in the background. Or market makers paying articles. It only costs 10 grand to communicate with CoinDesk. Owns a lot of news in the crypto space, like news platforms. You pay CoinDesk like 10 grand as a market maker, and you can have like 2,200 articles launched like everywhere. And all those articles would basically help manipulate retail into making financial decisions on their trades. And their goal is to basically use not every tool that they have at their arsenal, right? If you're jumping in with $40 million, what's $10,000 on an article to help support your trade? Teo, Coney, ETF. Let's take a look at Coney. That was requested a little while ago. New York Stock Exchange. Yield Max Coin option. I don't know anything about this. Is this on price discovery? So it's a forever downtrend. Dividend structure. 244. Yeah, there's positives and there's negatives to dividends. They're essentially casting away market cap in hopes that people hold. That's the negative part. But there are some dividend stocks out there that I would highly recommend over something like this, because if your holdings are depreciating, then the valuation of your payouts are decreasing with it. So I'm just going to recommend looking at the daily structure for this because it's really choppy. Based on this chart, we're at an all-time low, potentially sweeping this low right now as we speak. This daily candle looks like a little blocky. Daily order block here. I don't really trust that order block, but we can look at it, still mark it. This one I trust up here. Just because there's gaps in these candles over here. So we're at the last support, right? We're at the last support before we're in price discovery. So at this point, you're going to look for hopefully at close above this previous low. Maybe we'll get that sweep back up. But what you really want to see is the daily change of character. And this pullback's a little bit messy. You can have the internal change of character here. We really want to have this one break here to allow you to get a potential move back up to the 200-day EMA. But yeah, this thing's been a forever downtrend. How old is this thing? Been dying for 575 days. Sometimes, man, it's not about the price tag, right? But you are right to look at the chart right now. This is a good spot to prepare for a potential reversal. Because if it's not going to reverse here, it's going to just keep on dying. So I'd mark this as a key level. See what kind of posture you get at the top of this key level here at 64.64. It hopes that we break it. If we have a good double bottom posture by the time that breaks, you could jump in on the entry, watch this high, watch the 50-day EMA, and hopes for a continuation to the next supply concern, like right here, alongside with the 200-day EMA. And you could get yourself a good return on that, like 37%, like maximum. But yeah, just be careful holding this thing long term. I'll go back to the Bitcoin chart for a second. I do got to head out soon, guys. I do have another call with the community tonight. For anyone who wants to join, we got if you remember, we're doing back testing on SFPs to find out more data of what kind of confluences could help us identify a higher probability win rate with your trades. And also a cool way to combo breaker. Yeah, it's also a cool way to basically build your own strategy and build confidence and learn what an SIP is, stuff like that. Saeed throwing the goats everywhere. What's up, man? Okay. Well, I got to head out, guys. I wish I could do the rest of the requests. I think we only missed like one or two. But we crushed it. We went through like almost a dozen assets. So if you want to go back and recap, you got XRP, Ester, Hype, SNEC, Link, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, a couple of stocks. Yeah, all that fun stuff. We do have a live coming up on Friday, and we'll be doing a giveaway for a $6,000 account. So if you're interested in attending, yeah, we'll be doing that giveaway. Basically, we'll just be asking you guys to do a comment during that live to be able to get entered into the ballot system automatically, and then we'll be doing the giveaway right during that moment for the $6,000 account. All right, cool. If you have any questions with anything, just reach out to me in the Discord, and I'll love to help you out. No question's a dumb question. Especially if you're beginning, there's nothing about this is common sense. You have a great day, guys, and thanks for watching.